Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to today's live session. I'm very excited for the amazing conversation that we are going to have today because, as we're on the 96th session, I wanted to cover something that's actually going to move the needle forward for you much faster and has something I've learned about change and the way people work, about how change really happens in life. And it's this: we often focus a lot more on what to do, which can be good, but a lot of times we miss out focusing on what not to do, when that's where real change, real growth, and real transformation can happen a lot of the times, because energy that we have in our lives is limited. And if we can apply that energy in the right direction by first eliminating all the wrong directions that it's going to, the better and faster we can grow. And that's why today I want to talk to you about all the wrong places we go to when we look for change and transformation, all the ideas and perspectives that may make sense in the now, but in the long term, they actually hold us back. And one of the biggest ones and one of the most important reasons why people don't change despite trying the hardest is that they prioritize knowing over being curious. Let me explain you what that means, because this is so important. If you can get this and if you can master this, you will be someone who can take your life and your career and literally every aspect to the next level. Because in coaching, many people, has the one truth I've realized, that the reason we don't change is because we believe we already know enough, and we are not curious to figure out, could there be an alternative way, could there be something else that we could look at, could there be another angle for solving this problem. And rather than looking for solutions, rather than looking for pathways, rather than searching for a better answer, we protect our flawed and incorrect answer with all our might and with all our pride. And while that may make sense now, in the long term it only comes back and harms us more. And which is why curiosity always takes the win. In every single person who has changed for the better, in every single person who has achieved more in their life, this has been common. They have unlocked more curiosity, and they have looked at problems like something to tinker with, like something to work around with, like something to brainstorm upon and play with. And as a result of that, their life gets much better and much powerful results. But first of all, before we even go on how to imbibe curiosity and how to make it happen, has something important that I want you to know. Every single time we shun out our questioning, and every single time we think, oh, I already know this, or oh, I am already aware of that, we are being arrogant, we are being entitled, and we are being selfish. Because rather than prioritizing our growth for the future, what we are prioritizing is looking smart and looking good in the now. Nothing wrong with that, but my only thing is, if you're going to only focus on what you already know rather than exploring places that feel a bit challenging but can actually lead you to growth, then don't expect life to reward you with growth. If you want the comfort of everything you know now and none of the challenges, feel free to choose that. But then also understand that those are the kind of outcomes you'll get in your life. Because I've seen this happen. The people who have changed in the coachings and the people who have gotten the most results are the ones who have thought, this is interesting. I want to know more about this. I want to know more about myself. I want to know more about how do people make their behavior better? How do they make their emotions and thinking better? And from that lens of curiosity, they are approaching their own life's challenges. The people who don't change, they act from a place of all knowing. They'll come, they'll talk about a lot of problems. They'll talk about, oh, I have this challenge and I have this problem, and my boss said this and my partner said that, and just a whole laundry list of problems. But when you lead them towards a solution, they have one classic response: oh yeah, that won't work. Oh, I tried it, I don't think it works that much. Is it really working? Is it not working? So the people who act from an all-knowing perspective, they stunt their own growth, because rather than choosing to look at things with an idea of experiment and curiosity, they're already shutting down and they're already shutting out this powerful lens that they can take towards success. Now, the reason for this is actually way simpler than we think. And in fact, I think as I'm telling you this, you're probably remembering some people around you, some examples of those who have tried and who have acted and who have said they want to change, but ultimately they never do. Ultimately, they never succeed because they can, one, not take feedback positively, and two, they cannot learn, they cannot grow because they're not looking for growth in that. They're just looking for a validation of their existing ideas. Now, when that's the case, right? Here's the reason it all happens. We don't want to look weak and we don't want to look vulnerable. We are constantly on the radar about how are people perceiving us? How am I being looked at? How are they considering me? Are they thinking of me as good? Or are they thinking of me as bad? Or are they thinking of me as someone who doesn't know what he's doing? Right, we have all these thoughts going on in our heads, and if you're in a social setting, whether it's in person, whether it's virtual, whether it's over text, we are constantly measuring our current image with the ideal image inside our minds, and the ideal image is always idealized, it's always perfect, it's always a standard that we can never really meet. So anything that threatens getting to that standard, anything that looks as a barrier, and if that means authenticity and curiosity is the barrier, we'll ignore it rather than actually going towards it. Because in our mind, the subconscious priority is, I want to look good, I want to look smart, I want to look like I've got it all under control, when in reality none of that could actually be true. Then what ends up happening is, as we go through life, our curiosity suffers at the risk of social judgment. Our curiosity dies because we aren't willing to pay the price of being ridiculed at or being laughed at. And that is why what we end up doing is, we end up creating a total mess where we know we want to change, but in our minds we are not even willing to accept the fact that we can, or that we should be more curious rather than all knowing. But here's the trick, here's the fun part. If you can understand this, and if you can master this, and if you can let go of this need to have a constant social image, you can embrace curiosity in a whole new way. And when you embrace curiosity, your life changes for the better so much faster. Now, here's what I mean by that. So, if this is a person who's just not willing to change, and who's thinking, and who's all knowing, and who's just finding faults rather than exploring things with curiosity, you can know they're prioritizing their image, they're prioritizing their imaginary social status rather than actually going for a change. But the people who have one willingness, and that willingness is something I like to call the willingness to look stupid in the short term. The people who have that are the people who actually succeed, are the people who actually create massive waves in the world. And I wanted to think of any entrepreneur that inspires you, okay? Anybody from Steve Jobs to Elon Musk to even incredible people who've made giant leaps, any field you take. I'm just taking CEOs and business people as an example. You'll notice one thing that's common in every single one of them. And that common thing is, they all are willing to look stupid. They'll come in public and they'll talk about their plans, they'll talk about their ideas, and they'll explore things with a childlike sense of curiosity. And if it fails, they're ridiculed, they are questioned. And you know what their response is? Oh, yeah, I was figuring that out. I understood I was wrong, and I quit it. They don't mind quitting. They don't mind losing. They don't mind saying, okay, I was wrong. But for the rest of us, those three words feel so heavy sometimes that we end up sabotaging our growth, we end up sabotaging our life rather than embracing the lens of curiosity, rather than looking at things from the lens of openness. So, if you are willing to look stupid, you already have an advantage over 90% of the world that's shunning out their curiosity because they're just not willing to look stupid. They're looking smart, but they're not smart. The people who are willing to look stupid are the people who actually go and become smart and get the results that they want in their lives. It's simple math, it's simple logic. And so, once you do that, once you have that willingness, then you can jump into making the force of curiosity work for you. And my simple guideline, my simple advice there is, any problem you have, any challenge you have, just do one thing. Ask yourself, what are the questions a 5-year old would ask here? And then pause. Just wait. You don't have to answer the questions, you don't have to ponder on the questions. You just have to first ask the questions, because as adults, we've been so pushed further away from questioning as a skill, from questioning as a habit, that we tend to only think in our limited perspectives now. But if you can challenge your thoughts and you can look at things from alternating perspectives and you can hold the uncertainty, that space that exists between a question that's been asked but not answered yet, the more comfortable you can get in that space, the better, the more aware, the more powerful you become in your life, because now you have the ability to look at your truth straight on, and you can know, are you jumping to defensiveness or are you being real with yourself? And if you're being real with yourself, you won't jump to defensiveness, even when you're curious and even when you're asking different questions, maybe some uncomfortable questions perhaps to your own self. You will see that it's in the simplest questions you find your deepest answers. I'll repeat that again. It's in the simplest questions that you will find your deepest answers, because answers don't come unannounced. Answers come when they are probed with a sufficiently powerful question that can jolt you out of your defensiveness, that can bring you out of the whole mental loops that you're stuck in and show you the reality. That's why mastering curiosity as a force is so important in life. Because once you do it, every single thing leads you to success, every single thing leads you to your growth. And so here's an assignment for you, okay? Every single day, no matter what happens, no matter how busy you are, I know you can take the time for this, okay? So 5 minutes in a day, you're gonna give yourself permission to be curious with yourself. Don't expect answers. Don't expect, I have to know everything. No, not that. Just allow yourself to get into the practice of sitting with uncertain questions, because we're running so fast behind clarity that we're forgetting the questions we ask and hold space for. They are the variables that actually define the quality of our life, the quality of our experience. And that's why I want you to truly practice the skill of asking a question and pausing and letting your curiosity take the way forward, rather than the script that's been running in your head for years and years and years. Because that's the only reason people are stuck. They are not questioning the script inside their heads, and that questioning feels hard, that questioning makes you look stupid, that questioning can sometimes make you feel, my god, I was doing things wrong for so many decades. But here's the important thing: every single realization that you get only makes your future better. So if you are ready for it, and if you know that you want to tap into this power, do this exercise every single day. Whatever problem you're concerned about, practice being curious about it, not solving it, just being curious about it. Ask yourself, what's a question a 5-year-old kid would ask here? Sit with the question. Ask some more follow up questions. Let the path of natural inquiry unfold like a river that just finds its path from the mountain to the sea. And just like that, your life will find its own path. There's so much confusion we have, there's so many challenges we have, there are so many barriers and problems we have which hold us back, which create negativity, which create challenges. And the only reason they exist is because they continue to go unquestioned. So when you begin with just some questions and you get used to asking questions to yourself, you get used to being curious about yourself, then you can ask the deeper questions. Then you can question the most strongest of beliefs. And when you question them is the moment you break through and unlock the state of limitlessness in your life. You don't have to go through years of processing. You don't have to go through lots and lots and lots of discussions. The decision is yours to make. Are you ready to stop conforming? Are you ready and willing to look a bit stupid in the start? And are you ready to actually be curious rather than just being the all knowing person who's not comfortable with being weak and vulnerable? The people who are curious, they are never weak or vulnerable. In fact, they're the strongest ones, because they believe in themselves so much that they know, me asking your questions not going to do anything to me. So that foundational confidence and strength comes in when you keep practicing this idea, this perspective, and this thought of curiosity and holding the space, nurturing the space between the question and the answer as much as you can, rather than just jumping to the one answer you, anyways, already know and use as a justification. Thank you so much for being here. I hope this was helpful. I hope this got you thinking. And I hope I've left you with a question or two that are unanswered, because now I'd like you to explore them with more curiosity. Thank you so much for being here. And I'll see you once again tomorrow at the same time, that is 8:30 p.m. IST. Bye. See you soon.